Hi everyone, I'm here to quickly demonstrate my new Max for Live device that I've been working on for some time now, and that has been requested by a couple of users that were using my clip renamer. And so I've just loaded up the Ableton Live demo set here and created a couple of groups as well, just to show you how it works. So what you do is you drop it onto any of your existing channels. I put it on the main channel, and you can hit open, and you'll see that the track renamer shows this floating window, which you can use to rename your tracks. So the main idea is to not even be in the Ableton Live tracks at all. So my idea is that you just stay in this floating window as long as you need to rename tracks. This eliminates having to select a track in Ableton, going back to the floating window, and then adjusting the settings, hitting rename, and going back and forth between the two. So the goal of this device is to just the user stays within the window itself. There's also a lot of keyboard shortcuts which you can bring up by either hitting the question mark down here or hitting question mark on your keyboard. And so you can see the keyboard shortcuts here. The track renamer has two main functionalities. The first one is blocks, where you can use different parts of your already existing Ableton Live session to rename the tracks, or you can also do a simple find and replace. Let me quickly demonstrate that. Also, you can get to these pages by hitting Command 1 or Command 2. On Windows, it's Control 1 and Control 2. Let's say I want to replace the word bass with an uppercase version of it. And so I will put bass into find and put it uppercase into the replace field. And here's already one thing that you notice. It's that it will only rename the selection. And right now I have only selected this group here. So what I need to do is hit escape or hit the little X button up here, which will cancel the selection, which means everything available will get renamed. Otherwise, you can also just select a specific range. So if I want just one of those to be replaced, I can hit it and then hit the button down here or hit Command Enter or Control Enter on Windows. And that will, boom, do the renaming, as you can see in my session, without having to leave the floating window. I can undo stuff by hitting U. That's lowercase u. And then uppercase U, you can redo. So whatever you're doing, you can always hit U to undo it and uppercase U to redo. So I just did a selected replace. And again, if you don't have anything selected, it will just rename everything available. Let me go back to the blocks section and quickly show you what we can do from here. Users often asked for a way to be able to set a base name and then some sequential numbers that would show up based on the name. So let's say this group right here is actually just a bunch of vocals. And here's another thing you can do just in our floating window right from here. First of all, you can navigate using basic keys like your arrows, or you can also use Vim motions, but it gets a bit more tricky since if you're using Vim motions, you'll also then be able to change the selection. But I'll get into that in a different video. So what I wanted to say is you can just do a quick rename as well, like you would in Ableton Live. So I can just hit Command R, and then let's change this to vocals, for example. Hit Enter, and you can see it will rename it in Ableton Live, obviously. So let's say I want to rename all of these tracks that are inside this group. There's a couple of different ways to do this. We could use the name of the group itself, which would be pretty useful if you have a bunch of groups and you want to rename the tracks inside the groups to be based on the group name. And also one more shortcut that's useful here is if you select a group and then hit Command G or Control G, it will select all the tracks of that group, including the group itself. For now, let's deselect the group by clicking it with Command click or Control click. By the way, the selection here behaves as you would expect with any other file trees. So you can hit a track, hold Shift, and then select another one, and it will select that whole range. And then you can add or remove stuff individually by holding Control and clicking. The control is not showing up right now, but I'm holding Command right here on Mac, so I can adjust the selection. Let's select these tracks again. I'm using Shift right now. For a pretty basic one, let's say I want just to have some custom text. That's what this text button is for. And then I want to have a number behind it. So let's say I want to make it Vox and then a number. So let me also input the number block right here. And you can see these blocks are always just modular. So you can move them around by using the drag handles or the up and down arrows here, and it will rearrange it. Also, it will always show you a preview of what the tracks will be renamed to here on the right. So let's say I want to have it be Vox. I enter Vox and hit Tab, because you actually need to leave the input field for it to show up in the preview. Easiest is to hit Tab, or I guess you can also hit Enter. And since most users will probably be using this functionality, I built in another great shortcut for just changing the custom text, and that's if you hit Command E. Then it will just directly show you a modal with whatever custom text you have set, and you can adjust it. So if I want it to be guitar, I change it, hit Enter, boom, and it's done. You'll never have to use your mouse here. Just Command E, enter your text, hit Enter, and boom, it's adjusted. So right now you can see, since we have 8 tracks, it will name the tracks using our custom text, the number, and then our separator that we set down here, which you can also change, obviously. Please let me know if you need more options here, or even a custom option. So now it makes more sense to show you the preview when I switch around these blocks rather. You can see that it changes the preview, and if I hit Enter or Command Enter, it will rename them. I can undo that. Now we're back. This is the basic functionality of the renamer. So as I said, most users will probably be using this functionality with the custom text and the numbering. And you can always switch these around. You can add multiple of them, like this. And then there are also a bunch of other blocks. You can check them out on the website if you want to have a more detailed look. But let me go through them. Original just means the original name of the track. So if I clear all here right now, I'm hitting escape here. So the renaming is being applied to all of the tracks. Let's say I want to keep the original names, but add some custom text behind them. In that case, I would hit the original block right here and then add a custom text. And then let's say custom text. I hit Enter, and you can see that it's using the original text and our custom text that we added. Or let's say we want to have a number. In that case, it will rename it like this. By default, if you have nothing selected, it will exclude the group names, because usually you don't want group names to be renamed. The number block should be clear by now. The custom text one also. The group block is what I mentioned earlier. It allows you to use the group name and apply it to the tracks that are inside the group. For demonstration purposes, let me just rename this group here to something that makes maybe more sense. Let's say this is instruments, and then I hit escape, and you can see it will rename it to instruments and vocals. Usually you probably don't want the hashtag to show up or the number to show up in the final track name, so by default it's disabled, but you can always choose to enable it. And then I also want to add a number behind that, and now you can see that the number block behaves differently than if you don't have a group name right here, because if we don't have a group, it will just go through all the tracks. But if we're using a group one, it would obviously make sense to only number them throughout the group and then start again from one, number them through again. But you can now see what this does. It will just take the group name, apply it to all individual tracks. Then what else? We have the clip. And what this does is, as the name says, it will grab the name of the first clip that's available on the audio track or MIDI track. It works for both. And it will use that for renaming the track, as you can see. For example, here we have the strum track, and on this strum track we have a clip named Strumomatic. Yeah, the idea is that you can use the clip name to rename the tracks. Then there's the device block, which will grab the name of the first device found on the MIDI tracks and will allow you to rename the track to whatever you have on that MIDI track, which in a lot of cases, as you can see here, the device has the same name as the track already, so it's not renaming anything. But let's say down here, I'll add Serum 2 onto the Rainstorm track. And what you can see now is that it successfully detects Serum 2 being the first device on this MIDI channel, and it'll allow you to rename it to the device name. Another huge part of the track renamer is the color feature, which means maybe I should have just named the device track manager or something, but I stuck with track renamer because I think it's mostly about renaming the tracks. But I built in a feature where you can make a selection on any of the groups or tracks or whatever, and then hit C, that's lowercase c. And then you can quickly change the color of any of the tracks. Let's say I want to have my vocals group white. I can use it like that. And here again, you can use Vim motions. So I could just navigate using J and K. And if I'm on a group that I want to change the color on, I hit C. And then again, in here you can use your Vim motions to change the color. So let me just change that to blue. You can also do this for multiple tracks when you do a track selection. And you can also copy paste colors. So let me check the shortcut for those. So as you can see, you can yank or copy a color with Y and then paste it with P, or Shift Y just on a single one. I'm hitting Y here on the vacuum. You can see in the top here what color that you have yanked. Then I hit J to go down, and then hit P to paste this onto whatever tracks I want. Let me change this to red like this. Yank, paste, paste, and so on. And one other thing you can do, if you have a group, let's say I change this group color to pink, and let's say I want to apply the group color to all of the tracks in this group, I can hit Shift C, which will apply the group color to all of the individual tracks that are contained within that group. Oh, and another thing in here, you can obviously fold and unfold the groups for easier navigation. This works with the Vim motions, but also with your arrow keys right here, like this, and obviously also with your mouse. A few more things. There's an alternative design for the track overview here on the right. If you hit this button right here, it'll switch to a design that looks more similar to the actual Ableton Live design. But I prefer this modern look. I think it's easier to see what's going on. Yeah, so this was a quick demo of my new device called SL Track Renamer. You can get it from my new online shop, which I've just launched. I'm now no longer using Gumroad because I want to have a bit more flexibility, especially for the future and stuff. So you can also visit the product page right here, and then you can check out all of the previews right here again. And there's also an interactive preview right here where you can just test out how the device behaves. Obviously, you don't have Ableton Live running in here, but you can just see what it's doing by moving around the blocks and using the blocks. And then you can also hit rename, but that's obviously just some mock-up data in the background. Yeah, so that's available in my online shop right now. If you have questions or feedback, you can either create an account on my shop and then use the FAQ section to ask me. Or if you've bought the device and you have problems or feedback, you can hit the feedback button down here, which will open a new email using your default email client to send me an email where you can add your feedback or whatever you're having troubles with. Yeah, so that's it. I think this is a pretty good solution for batch renaming tracks in Ableton Live. And yeah, let me know what you think about it, and see you soon.